right, Matt. Welcome back to Hi, Haley.
Woohoo!
All right, so it's episode 4, our last episode of Copilot series, and we're going to talk a little bit about actions and then close it up.
All right. So in previous videos, we went over knowledge, which is basically our base of information for everything. Copilot, we went over topics, which is actually orchestrates kind of when you give Copilot data, what it should do with it. And then we ran a Power Automate flow from that. But what we're going to cover today is the Actions tab. So Actions are basically another version of, I like to call it Power Automate Lite, because it's more to Copilot. And now when we actually go into it, it's going to look identical to the Power Automate builder, which is kind of interesting. But what we're going to first start out with is we're just going to briefly create a topic here. So we'll create a topic from blank. And then this time, since Clippy is going to be an all-in-one bot, we're going to let it do everything. We're just going to have it get the weather for us, so that we know if we need to wear a jacket or not when we go to the office.
Which we've talked about that before in a past video.
Yeah. Weather, temperature, so we need at least 5 so it knows how to trigger this. Help me out here.
Weather, temperature, forecast.
Ooh, that's a good one. Meteorology.
Yes. Oh, goodness.
Radar. How about that?
Radar.
Temp. All right, that should be enough here for it to figure that out.
I was going to suggest Fahrenheit, but I was like, I can't even spell Fahrenheit right now.
All right, so we've got our topic created. So now I'm going to create an action. And then this time, we're going to do it really easy. We're going to use an out-of-the-box one. So we're just going to do the get forecast for today. Now, as you've seen in one of our first Hi Haley videos, we actually created a Power Automate flow to get the weather for us.
And it's still on.
It's still running every day. So we're going to give it a name here. And then we're going to say use this when the user asks for the weather. Okay, I'll click add action. And we're seeing it's, we didn't give it an output, so we're going to have to change that. So it loads here. I'm just going to click on this guy again. And now that it's created that, we're going to see that we've got our inputs and our outputs tab. Okay. And then basically what I'm saying here is I just check this box to say send a message to the user after the action is run. And you can have it do a couple different things. You can create a message, you can create an adaptive card, or have Copilot automatically generate the answer for you. We'll just go ahead and click OK and save. And then we're going to go back to our topics here. This time we're going to go to the weather. And now we're going to add a new action. So we're going to click add an action. And then we're going to click our actions tab here. And now we're going to see that we've got that weather forecast in here. So very, very similar to Power Automate flows here, but they're just built into Copilot instead of Power Automate. All right, so we've got our action there. So now what we're going to do is now that it has an output, we need to give the user what that output's actually going to be. So I'm going to click send a message. And then this is actually going to send a result back to the user. So we're going to say, sure, here is the weather forecast. And then what we'll do is we'll click our variable button. And we're going to see that this is all of the information that we get back from the Copilot. So I just care about, oh, didn't mean to do that. So we're going to go with the high temperature. I don't know if I can spell today. And then again, we're going to end the topic after that. And we're going to click save. And let's try this out. All right, so what we're going to see here is that I asked for the weather, so it figured out the right trigger, which is what we wanted. And now it's running my action. So the first thing it's going to do, it's asking me where do I want that actual weather for. So we'll just say Minneapolis, Minnesota. All right, so we got our Imperial. Once we put that in, it now processed that message saying, here's your weather forecast. It's going to be 72 degrees.
It's a good temp.
Yeah. So, again, that's really all there is to it. There's a lot of out-of-the-box actions that we can add. I prefer, personally, to just make everything in Power Automate. Because that's just what I'm a little more familiar with, and it's a little more mature than Copilot Studio, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But Actions is going to be the future for Copilot Studio, so I'd encourage people to use that to kind of test out and things like that.
Awesome. Well, in the meantime, we'll keep using Clippy.
All right. So yeah,
All right.
last thing, now that we've got this all set up, is we just go click publish, and then we'll have it available on our actual Teams page.
All there is to it?
That's all there is to it.
We love it. Well, thank you, Matt. Appreciate you for doing this series with us.
Yeah, no problem.
All right.